Good morning, welcome to another episode of Mr. Bletcher Homeschool. Today is actually our final episode. Due to some circumstances, it is actually going to be our last episode today. April Fools! It's April the 1st. Got ya. Should have seen your face then. You're thinking, oh no, not the last episode. Well, no, it's not the last episode. But now it is time for Early Bird Maths. Year 3, 4, 5 and 6. Here are the questions for today, the first day in April. So it is time for the shout outs, and I have my fantastic shout out microphone, which is more in fitting with the background that we use for shout outs. So our first shout out, I'll move to this side so our work can appear here. Our first shout out is for Rocco, who has taken up the cooking challenge. Those look delicious, some slight modifications, but they look absolutely brilliant. Well done to you. Our second shout out is for Olivia. She's been watching at home, doing some excellent work, and she's even getting her guinea pigs to watch. So hello guinea pigs, nice to see you are educating yourself by watching these videos. Well done guinea pigs and Olivia. Next up is Harry. He's had a go at this week's cooking challenge, and how scrumptious do those look? Now, next is Kanye. Look at the work that Kanye's produced. This is absolutely brilliant and beautifully presented. Well done, Kanye. Coming up next is Oliver. Oliver has created a marble run through things he's found around the house, and that looks great fun. It looks absolutely brilliant. So well done to Oliver. Next up is Jessica. Jessica is absolutely fantastic with using Makaton, and she's made a video to the song by the House Martins, The Caravan of Love, and they are an absolutely fantastic band. So well done on beautiful, wonderful music choice, as well as making that video, and keep at it with the Makaton. You are amazing. Next up is Scarlett. She's produced this wonderful artwork. Thank you to Mrs. Lynch's tutorial. So well done, Scarlett. We next have Maya. Look at this for an activity to do at home. These look absolutely brilliant, and well done, Maya, for your hard work. Those look absolutely wonderful. And final shout out goes to Jake. Wonderful work that we can see produced here. That looks absolutely brilliant. Well done for working it hard at home, Jake. Remember, if you would like your work shouted out, then please send it in the usual ways. And also, please send in any shout outs for the adults. Remember, on Friday is our big adult shout out where you get the chance to shout out your amazing adults. So get in touch. We'd love to hear from you. Literacy work, and yesterday we looked at a type of verb. Who can tell me what type of verb it was? Yes, imperative verbs, those bossy verbs. And dare I say it, some of you actually really enjoyed being a little bit bossy, didn't you? No? Yeah, you did. I can see it. You really enjoyed being bossy. Now, we're moving on from imperative verbs to adverbs. Okay, and we're going to use this definition of an adverb to help with today's work. So an adverb is a word that modifies a verb. Now, we were looking at verbs yesterday, so today we're looking at words that will modify the verb. Let's have a look at a few examples. Here is my example of a instruction, a order, and it says slice the cake. Okay, our imperative verb is slice. Okay, that's what we're doing. Now, an adverb will modify that verb. It will give us a little more information. So when we think about slicing the cake, how could we do it? Would you do it quickly? Would you go, oh, I'm going to slice this cake quickly? No, we don't want to ruin little Barry's party, do we, by slicing that cake way too quickly and ruining it all for everyone. No, we probably want to do it carefully. So I could change this order, this command, to carefully slice the cake. So we have our imperative verb, we have our adverb. Now, the great thing about adverbs is that we can move them around, so we can change their position in the sentence. Okay, so we're not always starting with an adverb. We could say slice the cake carefully. Okay, our imperative verb begins the sentence and our adverb is at the end. But do those instructions still make sense? Yes, they do. They inform me of how I need to do the job. So, thankfully, when I was at Barry's party, I carefully sliced the cake and everyone enjoyed the cake and it was really scrumptious. Okay, now here are a few instructions that are about to appear on the screen. What I want you to do is add adverbs to them to modify that instruction further. Off you go. So yesterday we took a look at some instructions from the cooking challenge. Some of you have already had a go at that cooking challenge and it looks amazing. Now here's what I want you to do. We've seen the instructions, we've seen some of the method, okay, and they will appear on screen soon. What I want you to do is rewrite those instructions using adverbs. Where can you modify the verbs to give us a bit more detail on how these instructions should be carried out? So, your instructions will appear here very soon. I want you to improve them, make them better through the use of adverbs. Maths time! And we've had a look at factors and square numbers this week. And now we are looking at prime numbers. So, what is a prime number? No. It is nothing to do with Amazon Prime. Question we get. You wouldn't have got that question as a teacher 10, 20 years ago, would you? But no, nothing to do with Amazon Prime. Actually, it's to do with factors. If you understand factors, then you will find prime numbers relatively simple. And if you're still a little bit unsure about factors, feel free to head back to a couple of videos ago on Monday's video where we talk about factors. Now, I'm not going to tell you. I'm just going to do a little bit of work and see if you can work things out. Right, the number 6. It has factors of 1 and 6. It has factors of 3 and 2. Number 6 is not a prime number. Number 4, that has factors of 1 and 4. And also you can do 2 times 2. Okay, 4 is not a prime number. Number 5. Number 5 has factors of 1 and 5. There are no other ways of using times tables to work out to get the answer of 5. 5 is a prime number. Number 11. Number 11's factors are 1 and 11. Number 11 is a prime number. Number 10. Number 10 has factors of 1 and 10. It also has factors of 5 and 2. Number 10 is not a prime number. 13 has factors of 1 and 13. It doesn't have any other factors. Number 13 is a prime number. So, with that bit of information, what do you think a prime number is? So you've had a bit of a think, and you're absolutely right. You've worked out that prime numbers have factors of 1 and itself. They don't have any other factors. Numbers that do have more factors that aren't prime numbers are known as composite numbers. So, with that knowledge, can you work out the following activities? So, time for some geography, and we are going to learn a little bit about climate. Just quick shout out to last week's lesson on geography. We did a bit about Africa, and it was absolutely fantastic. Your map reading skills were brilliant. But now we look at climate. Now, what is climate? I don't know. I'm not sure. Pause the video, have a little bit of research, find it in a dictionary, or find out on the internet. Have a go. Hopefully, you have found out that climate is the prevailing weather in an area over a long period of time. And in Britain, we have a temperate climate. Now, I've asked a few of my friends to be able to explain the summers and the winters in Britain. And here it is, acted out for you to help you understand. Woo! It is the British summertime. The weather is warm, a little bit wet. We still get rain, but I can have a party 'cause it's nice and hot. Yeah! The British summertime in a temperate climate of Britain. Oh, it's the winter time. It's really cold. Not as cold as other countries, but still cold. You still need your winter coat on. And I find it hard to shake the maraca because I'm so cold. And it's still wet. We're still getting rain. That's part of a temperate climate. So, a little bit on climate. Hope my friends helped you out. That was blue hair and red hair. You might see them in later episodes. Who knows? Now, we're going to look at the USA today, the United States of America. That is in the continent of North America. Now, that country, it's hard to believe, is incredibly big. It's vast, okay? You could fit Britain into just one state. You could fit our whole country into the state of Texas. And there's so many more states, okay? Little quick challenge, how many states are there in the USA? Maybe you know that. Maybe you should go and find that out if you don't know it. Right, so because that country is so vast, it has more than one climate, okay? Different areas of the country have different climates. Your job today is to find out all of the climates in the USA, find out what they are, and tell me what the weather is like in those climates. If I was doing Britain, I would say it was a temperate climate, and I'd talk about the sort of weather you get in a temperate climate. So, that is your task. Find out the climates of the USA. Tell me a little bit about the weather in those climates. Let's go. It's now time for a bit of reading. We're carrying on with the chapter we were on in the Explorer. And well done to those that answered the inference questions yesterday. Yes, what did the den tell us? It tells us that people have been there before. Now, the book didn't say people have been here before, but we were able to work that out from the clues. The other question was why Lila wouldn't let her brother Max go into the den. And that's because they don't know what dangers lie ahead. It would be unsafe to do that. Now, Lila didn't say to Max, don't go in there, it's not safe. But we were able to work out from the clues and the way she told him to not go in that it wouldn't be safe. So well done for answering those questions. We've got more questions coming up after we finish this chapter. So we'll carry on reading. No, you absolutely won't, said Lila, grabbing his wrist. You're staying right here. Fred pushed aside the vines hanging down between the logs. Ah! He winced. Some of the tendrils had tiny but vicious thorns, and they caught in one of his cuts. He brushed away another handful of vines and froze. His heart, which hadn't stopped double beating since the crash, quickened to triple speed. The trees met to make a tent, high enough for a man to kneel in, or for someone's Max's heights to stand. The air smelt deep green. There was a spider web in one corner, and below it was a pile of banana leaves, stacked a dozen leaves thick in the shape of a sleeping mat. They had almost entirely devoured by ants. Fred looked up and felt his eyes stretch wide. Come and look at this, he called. The space between the 4 tree trunks had once been covered in a roof of plaited palm leaves. He reached up and touched them. The palms were riddled with holes, half rotted, and the light shone through, but he could see how intricately they had been woven. He crawled further in, slowly, looking for snakes in the green light. The ground squelched under his hands. In the far corner of the den was a hollow gourd, rotten with mildew. Fred touched it gingerly. It was mulchy. He turned it upside down, wrinkling his nose at the smell. A cascade of flints spilt out. Half had been chipped into the shape of arrowheads. Others were square and squat, large as a fist. "You two!" He crawled backwards and stuck his head through the vines. "Come on! Quick! You have to see this. Someone was here." "You're crazy," spat Con. "If someone was here, then they won't want us trespassing. I've had enough of this." She turned and began to march back into the trees. "Wait, Con! We shouldn't split up," called Fred. Infuriated, he scrambled out of the den and ran after her. "Whose house is it?" She turned to face him. Fred was startled. There were tears in her eyes. "You don't know, do you?" "Of course I don't," said Fred, "but I just think, what if they come back? I've read about in a..." Con hesitated, casting around for an idea. "Goldilocks! I know how it ends. I'm not getting eaten." "I'm pretty sure this place wasn't built by bears," said Fred. "It could be cannibals." "Cannibals are mostly a myth," said Lila. "Says who? Everyone. Scientists. Our Mama and Papa. How do they know? Mama grew up in the jungle near the Solimo's River, and she's a scientist. A botanist." "Botanist?" said Max. Con scowled at him, the nerve in her face twitching. "You overrate the wit of the word bottom." Lila put a protective arm round Max and went on as if she hadn't been interrupted. "And our Papa's English, and he studies the plants of the jungle for medicine. And our grandmother was a scientist's assistant. We were supposed to be going to visit her in England. We were going to get the boat from Manaus. She wanted to meet us before she died. She wanted to see what Max was like." Con snorted. "Perhaps it's just as well we crashed." Lila ignored that. "Listen, whoever lives here, if they come back, might be able to take us to Manaus. Or they could eat us for dinner," said Con. She stared from Lila to Fred, angry and bewildered. "Just come inside," said Fred. "You'll see, nobody's been here for ages." Grudgingly, very slowly, Con turned round. She bent down and edged into the shelter. Lila and Max followed. Fred pulled at the rotten leaves lining the roof. "We could weave new leaves from the ceiling," he said, "and make new beds. Then it would smell less like a sock." He began gathering armfuls of half-decomposed foliage and pushing it outside. Underneath the earth was soft and dusty. It smelt of 1,000 warm days, layered one over the other. Lila brought in an armful of leaves, each as big as a pillowcase. She began to lay them down for beds, and we could hang some extra vines over the front of the den," said Fred, "so nothing can see in." Con crouched in the shelter with her arms crossed. "Who died and made you king?" she asked. "Nobody," Fred turned, startled. "But if we're going to sleep here, we might as well make it waterproof." "I'm not sleeping here," said Con. "Someone could come back here any second." "But they won't," said Fred. "Did you see those flints? Yeah? They're covered in moss," he said. "So they're dirty. Fine. How is that supposed to be reassuring?" said Con. "He means they're old," said Lila. "It's deserted." "But why do they want to risk it?" said Con. "What if they come back and think we're intruders? Or what if they're never coming back and they've left behind this shelter?" said Lila. Her voice wasn't loud, but there was a toughness to it. "If someone was here, that means someone else thought it was a good place to rest. It means it's safe. But you can't know for sure." "But we can't know anything for sure," said Fred. "Lila's right. As soon as we work out how to get out of here, we'll leave. But until then, it makes sense to stay in a place where other people have been." "Unless they eat us," said Con. "I'm staying here," said Max. "I want to live in a tree tent, and if you try to make me move, I'll do a wee on you." "No, you won't." Con backed away, smacking her head on a tree trunk. "He does sometimes do that," said Lila, which for the moment, at least, more or less, settled it. The end of chapter 3. So, they're now deciding to stay in the den. Here are your questions about reading today.